For those of you new to the channel, this is something that I built a little while ago. What it is, it's a table made for adjusting kids at a chiropractor's office. The reason for this car and this whole theme is to alleviate any anxiety that a kid has so it doesn't look quite so clinical. For kids going in for an adjustment, and there's all kinds of reasons that a kid could need an adjustment. It helps with bedwetting, all kinds of problems, alignment issues, but that's a whole other topic if you want to research into that. It was originally designed with adjustable legs. This goes inside this, and there's a little pin, and you can raise and lower the height depending on which chiropractor was adjusting the kid. So if you have someone shorter, you might want the table a little lower. If you're a taller person and you're doing the adjustment, you might want the table a little taller. There's some cushions that go on top of this. I've taken them off so I don't damage them. Well, we're going to do an upgrade to this table today. We're going to make this table electrically adjustable up and down, and the principle to that is going to be very similar to my lift table here. This is that unit. This has like a 350-pound weight limit, I believe. It's got two remotes, one that plugs in directly to it, and then it also has a cordless one. So this is how it works. Goes up nice and slow, goes up pretty high. And to reroute the cord underneath, so yeah, wow, this goes, wow. This is going to be a fun project, and I don't think it's going to be very difficult. The customer was concerned that I was going to have to do a whole bunch of rework to the car that I've already done, and I don't think that that's going to be the case. So to keep this assembly the height that it needs to be, I'm going to start by taking 8 inches off all of these legs to compensate for this height right here. Then once we get those 8 inches off, I'm going to set this angle on, drill a couple holes up through so that this angle can be bolted to this frame. Then we're going to weld these angles to that frame assembly. So now this can be set on the floor just as it is like this, plus it'll make transporting a lot easier because it's a lot less weight when you don't have this. Then you're just going to take this, set it on top of this base, 4 bolts will bolt it together, and it's a piece of cake. Easy assembly. I've already cut 2 pieces of this to 22 inches, just test fitting everything, so we're all set there. So my next step is I got to take 8 inches off all of these legs. I made this magnetic drill stand. If you want to see how I made this, go ahead and check it out. I bought the original drill stand off Facebook Marketplace, paid $35 for it. Cut it apart, did some modifications, did some welding on it, and mounted my portable mag drill head on top of it. Super handy.
I'll also put a link down in the description below if you want to check out a playlist that I have that has a lot of my popular tool builds, and this is one of those builds within that series.
Now I'm going to step up the drill bit size to the actual size that it needs to be. This was just my pilot hole. Alright, now we got to get this thing turned over. So I'll lay down some towels just to help protect it while I roll it. I think the easiest way to do this is just roll it on its side, get it upside down so that the legs are facing up, and then just cut them off that way. It's kind of heavy. Or even like this actually wouldn't be bad on its side. Yeah, probably this is easier. I already know that all my legs are perfectly even. So now I just take my bevel square, set it on the end here, scribe a line all the way around this. Now I have a nice crisp line to go by. Just makes it so much easier when you don't have to use a tape. You can just use a tool that helps you make a consistent mark. Then I'll just take my portable bandsaw, or you could also use like a sawzall to do it too. See how easy that is? It's a time saver. If you can do stuff like this, use little tricks to save you from using a tape measure and creating additional errors by reading it wrong. All these little things that you do, they save time. They're just little nice time savers. This portable bandsaw is another tool that I built. Super handy. Show you how all this works. So I just have a Velcro cord wrap that holds my trigger down. Some people use a zip tie. I like this. It's Velcro, comes off and on, reusable. Then under here, there's an outlet. This switch on the front controls that. Pull this out like that to unplug the saw. And then this little lock right here, unscrew that. And that's how easy the saw comes out. You see the saw just kind of fell right out. It literally comes apart and goes back together that quickly. If you want to see how I built this stand, I have a video for it. Go check out the link. Fun build. I use this daily. Just like that. That was easy enough.
And just like the magnetic drill, where I can use it as a drill press, but I can also take the magnetic drill and walk away with it, I'm doing the same thing with this bandsaw build. I love to get dual use out of my tools. I'm using it as it's intended as a portable bandsaw, but I can also use it with the portable bandsaw stand.
With the legs all cut off now, 8 inches shorter than what they were, we got to clean this down to bright shiny metal so that we can get a good bond when we go to weld it up. We're going to want to do the same thing to these angle irons as well because it has a zinc primer on it and we're going to want to get rid of that. Another thing we got to do is I want to round off the corners on all this so it eases all the edges, so if somebody bumps into it or whatever, everything's nice and smooth. Whenever you're building stuff for people, you always want to run your fingers over it because if anyone's going to get cut, you want it to be you and not your customer. You want this to feel really good. You want everything to look nice. No sharp edges. You can see here on this one, I've rounded this off so there was no sharp edges there. Same thing with this. When I originally built it, nice rounded off edge there. I go over everything with my fingers and touch everything to make sure that the customer's not going to get hurt. All right, a little bit of a change of plans. As I'm looking this over and just mocking everything up, you know, this frame is 8 inches tall, so I just took 8 inches out of the legs. Well, what I wasn't accounting for is that this kit also comes with a set of wheels. So if you want to put wheels underneath it, you can bolt them on right through there. Or if you want to put these feet on it, you can put those under it. Well, the customer really wants to use the wheels, and they lock also. They got a little locking mechanism you can see right here. So he wants the wheels because it'll make it easy to move around, especially when he's bringing it to this show and he's demonstrating how this works. So what I'm going to do is now just cut it all the way right to these cross members. So right to the cross member here, and then right to the cross member here. It's going to make it a little bit difficult on this side because I'm going to have to cut above this line. This was just kind of a, you know, thinking out loud line. It's going to be up here. So that line's going to go all the way across. And I don't know if I'm going to cut this with a circular saw or a plasma cutter. A little bit of change of plans, but that'll get more height out of this to lower it back down so that when we put the wheels on it, the table's not too tall. You can also see I took off the tires. You know, anything that could possibly get damaged, I took off because I don't want to, you know, damage anything. You can see how initially I've had to weld the steering into these pieces here. Yeah, this was a fun build. A little complicated because this was the first one that I had done and I was trying to figure out as I go, but this won't be bad. We'll just chop this off here, and then this will be a piece of flat bar on the back that'll get welded because this itself will act as an angle iron. That's why I'm not putting angle here. I'm just going to put a piece of flat bar under it, bolt it to the table, stitch weld it along this. That'll be plenty.
So my clearances were a little tight here to be able to use the portable bandsaw, so I'm having to use the reciprocating saw. And I'm going to end up having to cut all the way through that metal plate on the back. So I once again use a tool that makes it a little bit easier for me so that I can make a scribe mark. Plus I can give myself a nice crisp straight line. Then I'm just going down through with my reciprocating saw. It takes a little bit of time. This is sped up, I think, like 4 times. But either way, it wasn't all that bad. It went pretty quick. As I've said before in some of my other videos, that whenever you're building something that's a one-off or something that no one has ever done before, there is no textbook to this. So I'm having to figure out a lot of this stuff on my own and design and build as I go. So that's why I tend to try to do a lot of mock-ups, work things through before I actually fully commit to doing something, but it's coming along pretty good.
Now we got it all fixtured up and ready to weld. Got all my edges all cleaned back to bright shiny metal, rounded off everything so we got nice smooth edges when people brush up against it or touch it. You see they're all nice and clean. So we'll weld this on and we'll set it on the lift, and then we'll get the back piece exactly where it has to go. We will mark it up through the bottom, put the holes in it, drill it, and then put it back together so we can weld it.
For most of the projects that I do, 99% of the time I'm using MIG welding process, meaning I'm using a solid wire with a shielding gas. The reason for that is it tends to run a little bit cleaner than self-shielded wire. There's a little less spatter, a little less smoke, it cleans up a little bit better, and it's a little quicker.
You can hear I got my fan going, but it's still pretty smoking hot, but that'll be plenty. That's all I need, so I'm all the way there, there, and there, and it's the same way on the other side. Wire brush these up, and we can paint them here in a little bit. But yeah, coming along really nice. This is gonna work good.
Now I'm using my magnetic drill press stand again, and I'm drilling out the plate that's going to bolt down to the electric frame, and then we'll set the car on it and then weld the car to this plate.
Alright, you can see I got the front bolted down. Look right up in there, I got the bolts through it. Then I put some marks on the back, so I've got a weld that I'm doing here. Same length weld here. I've marked my start and stop off, so that's where I'm going to stop it. Same thing here. Then I mark center line of this, and then I'm going to put a 2-inch bead in the middle. That way my welds look symmetrical when you see it. Little things like this kind of separate you from the next guy. You know, probably not a lot of people would notice it, but, you know, other fabricators would definitely notice it, and that matters to me. Now we just got to weld this up, and then we can take it all apart again, paint it, put it all back together, and then I can show you how this works and how it's going to look, and it's going to be pretty slick.
When I'm welding, I always make sure my safety setup is dialed in. So that means having good ventilation and a clean breathing zone. That's why I've got my fume extractor running. Welding fumes can build up fast, and over time they can really take a toll on your lungs. It only takes a few extra seconds to position the extractor exactly where you're working, and it makes a big difference. Having good gear, good airflow, and a little bit of awareness can go a long way towards staying safe in the shop.
And here it is all assembled, guys, and I've actually added some LED lights that I've wired in to the car's battery system. Did a little bit of rewiring on it. He wanted the LED lights just to add a little bit of a dramatic effect to how it looks, and I think that that's a great idea. I relocated the existing light switch that used to be in the dash. As you can see, you can't get to the dash anymore. When you turn this on, it turns on the headlights. And so it just makes it nice and convenient, easy to get to. The LED lights are also wired into that same battery system. Because this isn't driving the motors, this should last a really long time. I think this only draws like 1 amp of power. It's very low power. This has like 16 million colors. I don't know if you can see it or how it even shows up on camera, but yeah, it's probably not doing it any justice. I don't know if you can see it or not. So if you want to use the lift feature, you just got to plug in the cord like this, then you plug the other end into an outlet, and this is how you run the lift. So you got to up and a down. When it's all the way closed, it's at 28 inches, which is pretty much the minimum height I think that you'd want to have your table set at. And this will go all the way up to like, I don't know, 40 inches. I don't know why you'd ever want to go that high, but and as you can hear, it's silent. Listen. This has a lift capacity of 350 pounds. It has a lift height of about 51 inches. This is held on there with adhesive, but I also use some wire ties to reinforce it, just because I don't want this stuff coming apart. I want it to stay put and look really nice. See another angle of the electronics. That little white box that you see to the left, that's the actual brains to the LED lights. Another cool feature with this raising and lowering of the lift, it also has a cordless remote too. So you can have the wired remote, which is this one, just up and down, nice and basic, simple features. Or you can have a handheld cordless one. And going down, just as quiet. It's pretty much silent, you can't hear anything. Takes a minute, nice and slow.
If you learned something here, or if you have a tip that works better for you, let me know in the comments. And don't forget to like and subscribe. So until next week, I will see you then. Take care, stay safe, and God bless.
Come